Greetings, YouTube. I hope I don't look back on this video in a couple of days, weeks, months, even a year, if I still have friends. And think, man, why did I give Kabam that much credit? They totally didn't follow through with what I said they would. But like just in the space of this weekend, I gotta give it up to them. You know, I think their new-ish CEO, who's now been there for over a year, is all about selling more volumes of purchases in this game. At least that's what it seems like. I'm not in those board meetings, Probably would be too bored in those meetings. But they changed things. They started doing more of like the double track $10 for a month value, or especially if you're Paragon, eventually like around day 21, you have for $10. Well, I guess it's not day 21. But you eventually for $10 have something that would normally cost you way more on itself. Day 29 is what I think I was trying to say. There it is. 6-star crystal selector. A 6-star crystal for $10 is not a normal offer at all. But of course you don't get it right away. You have to either pay to jump ahead. Spaces kind of makes me think of something like Candyland or Monopoly. But if you are patient, like I have always, because I've never spent more than $10 on these, you just wait a month and you get way more than $10 worth of value. In fact, for Paragon players, I would say that that's in some ways a better value than what you can spend for a month of, say, the Black ISO store. Though maybe that's not even true given how much has changed there, especially with the inclusion of the Black ISO store Scarlet Witch. But it's a great value for $10 regardless of what you compare it with. They also started selling piggy banks more and giving things to players that are like 90% off what they used to charge, like a million gold for $5 or $10. Unit offers that are heavily discounted, going back several years to this collector's daily card, which, by the way, several years. I haven't done the math on this, but it's worth. I'm on day 1,342, which feels almost made up. If you consider a year's 365 days, I have purchased this every day for 3.6 years. That's right. That's like the time in between Olympics, at least like summer to summer, winter to winter. That's the time in between World Cups. That's the time for, assuming there's no scandals, like a normal presidential term in the United States. So, yeah, they're growing. They're making changes. But one thing they did in 2022 that I thought this was just kind of a dumb idea is when they bring up rank 4 6-star materials, they would do either a tier 6 basic day or a tier 3 alpha day. And what would happen is that it felt like they would not sell that many because your goal needs to be to kind of grow those numbers together at once. You want to have about the same numbers per. And so if you buy the tier 6 basic, then you're going to have a lopsided number and buy the tier 3 alpha. Now, I think Kabam was banking on the motivation being that you'd buy the tier 6 and then the tier 3, but I don't think that's how it worked. And part of the reason why I don't think that it worked is because when they brought us the daily special stamp cards, they didn't give us either or. They gave us, especially if you look at like the Paragon, both of them at the same time, which, well, made a lot of sense. In the same way that makes a lot of sense, it also makes a lot of sense that they've gone away from that strategy and now are giving both equal percent resources for less than they gave. Like, we would see 28,500 tier 6 basic catalyst fragments for $40, $50. Now they're giving half for Paragon players for $30, along with some tier 5 basic and tier 2 alpha, which are basically throw-ins. In the same way, they're doing a similar offer for, of course, the same price for Thronebreaker players. And look, it's never going to be the best because they want you to be motivated to progress. But this is still a better version of this. Shout out to Rusty Dangs for sending this, both offers. It's still a better version than we've seen in the past for $30. And you get tier 4 basic kind of thrown in to compensate, which I know that those are cheap, but that's still better than nothing. Kabam has learned from their mistakes. They've learned how to up this. They also aren't doing a tier 6 basic catalyst fragment deal only for 24 hours. They're doing it now for 3 days. So they're kind of gauging the interest. And this is also a pattern that happened with Cyber Week. They gave people 7 days to purchase everything, not 3 or 4. And they gave the Ultimate at the time incentive to buy everything. And that was 6-star Weapon X, because it was also, of course, worth having that guy around for Battlegrounds. So I'm impressed. And by the way, the other offer, thanks again, Linus Blanket, was $20, $10 less, limit 4, and you get tier 5 basic, tier 2 alpha, tier 4 basic, and tier 1 alpha. Now, that's not as good, but at least it's cheaper. But, the main point of this video is to concentrate on how they've learned from their mistakes to sell more, to offer a bigger window to buy, and to lower the price. And as somebody that's basically graded every offer for 5 years plus in this community, I appreciate when it seems like the powers that be at Kabam make things cheaper, have more things included, and like in this case, there's no crystal. It's not like they could have easily brought back the deals that you have to spend crystals for tier 6 basic or tier 3 alpha or tier 5 class catalyst fragments. They didn't do that. They're just offering what it is. And that's smart, especially because so many players are within like 1 or 2 fully formed tier 6 basic and tier 3 alpha to getting their next 6-star to rank 4. And so you're going to look at that and say, all right, I'll buy 2, because then I'll be able to take my next rank 4 up. And that's just really smart business, and that takes advantage of what the players always look to do, and that's maybe get a little bit impatient, because impatience is what makes Kabam money in offers. Really what makes them money throughout the game, like I'm sure many mobile games. So there you go. That's my rant for this very late hour, and I look forward to seeing responses and seeing what y'all think.